Animambo Africa, Animambo Africa, Animambo Africa. Obrigado, obrigado Africa. Obrigado, obrigado Africa. Obrigado, obrigado Africa. Obrigado Africa. Yeah, obrigado, obrigado Africa. Obrigado, obrigado Africa. Obrigado, obrigado Africa. Obrigado Africa. Sanbonani, Sanbonani Africa. Sanbonani, Sanbonani Africa. Sanbonani, Sanbonani Africa. Sanbonani Africa. Hey, Sanbonani, Sanbonani Africa. Sanbonani, Sanbonani Africa. Sanbonani, Sanbonani Africa. Sanbonani Africa. Why you say me Africa? 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 Africa, Africa. Let me remind you, in 1960, Patrice Lumumba and Kwame Nkrumah, they got together and they said, let us build one Africa. Let us unite the people of Africa. Let's build one economy, one currency, one passport. And they said, yes, we can do it. Ma Africa, ma Asibambaneni, Silemuni. Aibo! Aruta continua. Samora Machel said, Kenneth Kaunda, Julius Nyerere, Oliver Tambo, they all said, let us get together, unite and build one Africa. One Africa. We are a pair, Uwenanda, Upidis, Sichava Saruna. We are a pair, Uwenanda, Upidis, Sichava Saruna. Oh, we are a pair, Uwenanda, Upidis, Sichava Saruna. We are a pair, Uwenanda, Upidis, Sichava Saruna. Karibuni, Karibuni Africa. Karibuni, Karibuni Africa. Karibuni, Karibuni Africa. Karibuni Africa. Obrigado, obrigado Africa. All right. Good evening. Jambo Africa. We want to say thank you for everyone that is joined us tonight, and allow me to quickly appreciate all the guests that are coming on and that are joining us tonight. I hope that you will be able to be with us and follow through our discussion tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got two vibrant young Pan-Africanists that are with me today, and they are joining me from Lusaka, Zambia. I would like to indicate that this is an open discussion and an open forum that we're going to have tonight in the light of youth and governance. One of the most important elements that we have ourselves here at the African Institute of Leadership and Governance is to make sure that we are well empowered. And our empowerment comes from all aspects. We talk about women empowerment. We talk about youth empowerment. We talk about the democratization of our continent. We talk about how Africa can be governed well. And so, guys, I would like you to share the link because we are on Facebook. We have come on Facebook tonight, and it's been long that I came on Facebook in that time like this. It's a deliberate move so that we can focus ourselves and we can be able to interact as well. I was playing a song in the background at the beginning, and Mr. Manga says he likes the song. Guess what? That's my song, That's my song, Obrigado Africa, where we just want the African people to unite and to work together. Well, Africa is a continent, one of the youngest continents in the whole world, based on our youthfulness and based on the level of energy that we have as a continent in all angles. So we'll commence by asking ourselves a question, but let me begin by welcoming each one of you. And once our rules for tonight, we're going to be on camera. We're going to be on camera. And then once you are not speaking, you can mute yourself. I will mute you from this side, or you can mute yourself. But when you have to speak, you unmute your mic. I think let's look at the discussions that we're going to have. Let me start with bringing in on the table. Everybody is on. Allow me to welcome Owera Nambanje, JC. Owera, can you talk to us? Greet the viewers, and we want to hear where you are tuning in from, and so that we can commence. Owera, go ahead, my dear. Unmute your mic. Yes, go ahead. Yes. Yes, Owera, can you go ahead and greet the viewers? Tell us where you are tuning in from. We can't hear you. You have muted yourself again. Unmute your mic. Unmute. Click the unmute button. Yes.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. My name's Owera Nambaje, JC, from the National Institute of Public Administration.
Are you tuning in from Zambia as well?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name's Owera. Okay.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, Owera.
Thank you very much. Okay, so good evening, everybody. My name's
Evening.
Wera Nambaje. Um, Preferably called Chance because that's my first name, but I don't want to be called because it's more
Okay.
tuning in from Zambia.
Welcome. Yeah. So thank you, Owera. We'll get back to you. Let me get on Mr. Muvanga. Mr. Muvanga, your dress code is looking nice. Go ahead and greet the viewers and greet the people.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Yes, I'm Banga Chilumba. I'm tuning from Zambia, Lusaka, currently. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's bring in Mr. Chongo, CH. Mr. Chongo, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Doc. Good evening, and good evening, colleagues. My name's Chongo Kosten, coming live from Zambia, and happy to join this panel tonight. Looking forward to a productive discussion as we deliberate on issues which are affecting the young people and the continent at large. Thank you so much.
Perfect. So we will begin our program, and I will not dwell so much on the preamble because I want to have a great dialogue with the gentleman that I'm having. We will focus on Zambia tonight, and so you can see that I've brought all the young men from the young lady from Zambia. And we want to look at issues of youth and governance. When I look at the history of our continent of Africa, I discover that the founding fathers that we call that were involved in the liberation struggle of our continent, they did not get involved in the liberation struggle of our continent when they were aged and retired. I realized that they got involved in the liberation struggle when they were youthful, energetic, and they saw the need. They made up their mind and the realization that they needed to kick out colonialism and we needed to liberate ourselves. Now, we have seen great leaders emerge from, thank you, Brian, from South Africa joining us. We have seen great leaders emerge when there was a need. We have seen when we begin from Botswana, Tseretse Kama, you can see they were young and vibrant, and they made sure that they fought for the freedoms and they fought for the liberation of their people. I always look at the time that the great leader, Robert Gabriel Mugabe, when they got involved in the liberation, they were also youthful and energetic. When we look at Samora Machel of Mozambique, you see that when they got involved, they were youthful and energetic. How can I forget about Nelson Mandela of South Africa, Walter Sisulu, Govan Mbeki, when you look at Steve Van Tubiko, Solomon Mahlangu, and the list can go on and on. All of them were young people. When I look at the nation of Zambia, I just picked up a picture some few weeks ago, and I was looking at the first cabinet of President, the late Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. I find that the cabinet of the first cabinet of the Republic of Zambia was the oldest person was Simon Mwansakapwepwe, who was the age of 42. And that surely tells us that at that particular moment, we see the young people getting involved. When I look at great leaders that have led great countries, like our great leader, blessed be his memories, Muammar Gaddafi, when he got involved and when he decided to fight for the liberation of his people, he was only 21 years. And at the age of 23, he became the leader, the Libyan leader. When I look at, it's so amazing that I was looking at Kwame Nkrumah. When I look at the time they got involved, they were all young and they were really energetic, strong, vibrant. I was looking at, and by the way, guys, this is amazing. I was looking at Patrice Lumumba of the Congo. His body was just being buried. Imagine just this last week after 61 years, after 61 years of Patrice Lumumba's death, his body was just being buried last week in his country. And that shows how young they were and energetic. Now, my question to you guys today, how is Zambia, has Zambia created an atmosphere for youth in governance? And what has happened to the fire that the Kenneth Kaundas had? What has happened to the fire that the Hari Mwangankumbulas had? What has happened to the fire that the Ruben Kamangas had today? Because when I look at our youthful president of Zambia, the youthful president of Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema, he just celebrated 60 years not too long ago. And that's what we call the young men today. I'm thinking about when will Owera get governed if the youth today are starting at 65 or at 60? I always ask myself the questions and I say, where are the youths missing it and what has really happened? Now that I picked up the lady, Owera, I always say, ladies go first. I hope your sound will be clear. And thereafter, we can open it up to the discussion. Yes, my darling, go ahead, Owera.
So good evening once again. When I look at this topic, and I would say it's a very good topic. I think it's one of the best topics if you had to discuss development as a whole in regards to Zambia. It's the key, most important topic that you are supposed to actually pick on, so that you get to understand and assimilate yourself with the challenges that the youths face in terms of being participants in government. So, allow me to say this. I feel as Zambia, and if I had to say this as Africa as a whole, the problem with our culture and our mindset is where it all starts from. Because allow me to say this, most of us, in the females, I would give an example, going to school and finishing school, or even going into university as a female is quite difficult, because most of the times that a female young person cannot actually go to school and they cannot attain higher levels of education. So you'll find out that sometimes it's not necessarily about the outside world being an affecting agent to how these people think, but it's just generally how these people actually built inwardly. So the mindset of the older generation thinking that the youths are inexperienced and they lack competency in carrying out the thing that they're supposed to carry out has really brought back the youths. Because if you get a lot of lectures from the older generation, when you are supposed to actually get motivation and from them, trust me, you will get discouraged and you will get to a point to say, what am I doing? Is what I'm doing right or is it wrong? Because if somebody who's able to sit down and able to see the future, even if I stand, I'll never be able to see the future, is saying that what I'm trying to do is wrong, then you tend to get some you tend to get discomfort in what you think of, and you tend to set back yourself because you'll be like, okay, if this other person said this idea is not a good idea, then I can't bring it up because this person is older than me and they are much more wiser. So I think the mindset biggest problem that we have as Zambia and as Africa as a whole, because Zambia is part of a continent, and I feel this problem is not only faced in Zambia, it's elsewhere. Mindset is a big problem, and as long as our older generation does not get to understand that they have to change this mindset, then I don't think we're actually going to have any sort of improvement in how we go on
All
further.
right.
So,
Okay.
I guess,
I will hold your fire right there. I'll keep the fire going.
thank
But
you.
I'll bring you back because I'll bring you back on the same question. But I want us to, you have echoed something very important in regard or in line with the women folks. And you have said it seems opportunities in the line of education with a girl child have not really been emphasized on. Now, I'm looking at the areas of youth participation in governance. And what comes into my mind, where is that I want you to begin to think what academic qualifications, and I will talk about the girl child that participated in the democratization of Zambia. What academic qualification did Julia Chikamoneka have? What academic qualification that Mama Kankasa had? I want to look at a number of women that participated. What academic qualifications did these women who struggled to see to it that Zambian women and young ladies are liberated? We can talk about different kinds of women that I can mention, but we'll hold the fire there because I want us to look at also education. Because remember, you have echoed a very key point. Somebody stated, I think is one of the great leaders who said, education is the equalizer of society. And we question that statement because saying, what kind of education? Is it really education? Because if opportunities have to be provided, we have to look at really what kind of education. I was just thinking through as I bring on Mr. Mubanga. I see there is another Mubanga called Sofwa. Please unmute your video so that we can, if you can participate, you participate. We know who we're talking to. But I'm talking to Mr. Chilumba. I was looking at this last week, and I follow what is happening in Zambia, that Zambia is celebrating another son of the soil called Mr. Let me just check the name again, James Ndambu. Yes, he's celebrating. And I was saying, if really education is the equalizer, what qualifications does James Ndambu, I think something like that, has? So we want to deal with such kind of things. Nevertheless, let's not divert. Let's look at youth participation in governance. Then we'll be dealing with these issues in pieces. Yes, Mr. Muanga, can you come on board and talk to us? What has happened to the young people?
Thank you very much, Doc, and everyone, the viewer there. who are watching us. Thank you very much. Yes, as you said, we have a very big problem we are facing in Zambia and Africa at large in terms of youth participation in governance. And first and foremost, I would like to say we have some kind of forces or factors which are making young ones not to involve into governance. And these factors, because of time, I cannot go into them one by one, but I'll just point one factor which are making young ones not to join into governance. And one of these is there is which I'll call protection. There is kind of protection to our elder brothers, fathers, mothers who are in governance. More especially, I give an example of Zambia and other African countries I've visited. It's just the same. Yeah. Before I go in detail on this, I would like to take you back to our culture as Africans. Africans, we know very well that when somebody has turned 60 years, he's our father, he's our grandmother, he's our grandfather, he's our father. Therefore, this person should not be working because this person have done a lot in society. And this person deserved that respect. Therefore, this person should leave other duties to the young ones. It is unrespectful to see, doctor, I'm with you, and then you go and fetch water for me. Yes, in African culture, that one doesn't exist. It's disrespectful. It means I don't respect you. So if I'm with you, according to the age you have and the age I have, myself, I need to go and fetch water for you. I need to cook for you. I need to do everything for you. The thing you can provide to me is now wisdom. Because that's what now I want from you. You sit with me and you tell with me, or you sit with the youth to say, my brothers, my children, my grandchildren, we live like this in life. Not you to put yourself in the position of working. That is an African. But it's surprising. These are the things we are seeing right now. Yeah. We are seeing people who should be there guiding us. They are there fighting for ruling us. So we are now turning out from African culture and is now going back to our culture, which is an African. You mentioned our forefathers when they were young. None in Africa who was 50 or 60 who fought for independence. None, because that was not their duty.
All right,
even
before Mr. Mubanga, you are. I like now the fire that you are carrying there. And I was looking for Mr. Chongo, but I can't see him on the screen. I'm sure he will be back shortly. But now we are going to break this into more detail. You have also raised an issue here that when you look at the freedom fighters that we have had in Africa, at the time they were fighting for freedom, there was none who was in their late 50s or so. A few could be alluded to that. Now, remember, the freedom they fought for was what we call political freedom, where Zambians can go out there and vote. And I'm glad that Zambians have been going out there after 5 years. There is a democratic elections to go and vote. But the
Yes.
issue that I have now is that for
Yes.
me, I believe that the war
Yes.
that Africans must get engaged into, it's not political war, but it's an
Yes.
economic liberation. I have
You are right.
always said political freedom without economic freedom. Political freedom without economic freedom is worse than
It's
colonialism.
nothing.
Now, I know Mr. Chongo had logged out, but before I bring him on, I want to get to Owera. I look at the women of Zambia. I gave an example of Mama Kankasa, Julia Chikamonika, and the rest, who some of them undressed in public to desire their rights to be heard. What is it that you young women like yourself, Owera, Zambian young women are doing to make sure that they are participating in the economic liberation? Our president, the Zambian president, President Hakainde Hichilema, spoke about the economic transformation. I think the greatest desire that he has always talked about since he came into government has been issue of improving on the economy. Now, I want to hear from you, Owera, because I am speaking about governance here. We are saying, in order for these young people to get themselves into governance, what do you think young girls must begin to engage themselves into? You know what? Let me say this. Owera, you spoke about university. I don't want to blow my own trumpet. It's on social media. But just to, in my small way of contributing to the Zambian society, what I've done as a leader is that my company used to give, apprenticeship into engineering students from the University of Zambia. And from 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, every year I would pick up some 10 to 5, between 5 and 10 best students, and we give them exposure to come into South Africa and get and learn some few things. We make sure I pay their transport, we pay their hotels, and we pay them even their salaries. So they'll be here doing apprenticeship, and we'll create that opportunity. But immediately they go back, you still see them back in the streets. I was saying the other day, when you meet a UNZA student, a UNZA graduate, when somebody graduates from UNZA today, when you meet them, the way broke they are, it's like as if they were studying poverty. When you meet them in the street, they are so broke. It's like as if they spent 5 years studying poverty at UNZA, because they are the worst broke people. So I am saying, Owera, what is it that young people, the Zambian young ladies, can begin to engage themselves? Then immediately you finish, I'll give it to Mr. Chong. Owera, unmute yourself. Yes, Owera. I'm not sure if she can hear me. All right, Mr. Chongo, can you pick it up from there so that we can keep it rolling? Then we'll get back to her.
Thank you so much, Doc. And I want to appreciate the fact that you have pointed out quite a critical point, which we need to really be concerned about as young people. Doc, you talked about the freedom, and you touched on the freedom of political freedom. Then we talk about the economic freedom. So these are the key things which we have been concerned for far too long in the African continent and in Zambia, to be specific. Zambia is Africa. And I want to believe that the challenges facing Zambia today are the common challenges which are facing each and every country across the African continent.
Okay.
Because at a global level, Africa has the same or the similar policy, the one collective policy, a collective trade policy, where Zambia, Congo, Malawi, Togo, Tunisia, they are all, bundled in one cage as Africa. They are subjected to this kind of exploitative trade policy where they are treated as individual states, but collectively they are treated as the African continent. So this trade policy governs the entire affairs of the African continent in the divided territories. And we ask ourselves to say, is this the way we want the African continent to relate with other continents? When you go to the European countries, they will have one policy and one guiding principle on how they can treat, on how they can negotiate with any developing country.
Okay.
When you go to USA, they also have one policy which guides them on how they relate with a developing country. So, what is our interest in all this deal as the African continent, or zeroing it into the Zambian context? What is our interest in all the negotiations and the policies and all that which we have been, aspiring to have at global level? This is where now it comes to us as young people to say, when we try to fit in the space of governance and try to say we want to govern ourselves, do we really know exactly what we ought to do when we go into government?
Okay.
What is it that we are?
Okay, you are bringing in a very big point there when you discuss on the issues. Do we really know what we want to do? Owera, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Did you? We had posed a very big question to you, and we needed your reply on that. We are talking about what is it that the young people, particularly, of course, we can frame it into the continent, but let's get into the micro aspect before we get to the macro of looking at the continent. I want us to look at it from the Zambian perspective first. I am saying, what is it that the Zambian young people need to begin to do so that they are included in the cutting of the cake or in the governance system of Zambia?
So thank you very much.
Yes.
I think the best thing to actually with, if you ought to have certain type of knowledge or understanding for governance issues, is a sense of enlightenment. When I say enlightenment, I mean being literate, meaning you don't have to be ignorant towards the fact that at the end of the day, governance runs every little thing that we as the young people are going through, regardless of how it or how it manifests. So that sense of enlightenment, or should I say that sense of not being ignorant, is a 50-way thing. It comes from both the community that raises us, and sometimes from other factors. Sometimes it might be because of the fact hear it on TV.
Okay, I think our network is shaking. It's bumpy there. I can't seem to get her. Mr. Mubanga, you raised the point that I want us to zero in. The point of
And
all right, I think our network is bumping on the other side. But please, Wera, if your network comes back correctly, yeah, just indicate with me so that we can bring you back on. It seems like your network is really bumping. Yeah, Mr. Mwang, you raised a very big point. Creating an atmosphere and an environment for governance for young people. You spoke about the 65 years old, developing an African culture where the old guys are supposed to sit back and allow the young people to save. Don't you think, when you look at Zambia, and don't you think they use the issue of young people are not experienced enough? Don't you think the issue of knowledge that the young lady Uwera is bringing in, the issue of saying they need to have a certain kind of knowledge? Now, my question there still lies when we talk about a certain kind of knowledge. I always say that apart from Kenneth Kaunda being a school teacher, what other knowledge did he have in order for him to fight for freedom? I want to hear from you, Mr. Mang. Apart from Nelson Mandela being a lawyer, what other knowledge did he have in order to fight apartheid? Was it not just to realize and say, hey, come on, guys, kinako? You know, in China we say kinako. It's time. It's the time that the young people arise and begin to fight certain regimes and say, guys, enough is enough. Don't you feel that maybe we need such kind of an approach at some point? Mr. Manga, then Costin, you're going to come on, and Owera is going to come in again. Yes.
Thank you very much, Doko. Now I'm going to be very clear. Zambia has qualified youth. Qualified youth 100%. Qualified youth, they know how to do. If today or tomorrow you give them opportunity to run this country, they can run whereby people can be even surprised. 100%. They know we have qualified youth, very passionate to develop this country, but they are not be given that opportunity to do it. One practical example I'm going to give you, and I'm going to give it to every viewer who is watching today, is this. When you go to any office today or tomorrow or Wednesday, these 2 days are holidays, on Wednesday, go to any office or any ministerial office or whatever, public office, whatever. Go and ask if you find somebody who is on high T, who is 60 years. Okay? If you are going to find somebody who is on high T, who is 60 years, when you look at technology and the communication and technology, which we have in Zambia and most African countries, you find that these ministries, who are the ministers of these ministries are above 60. But somebody who is on high T is 15. Secretary is 35. All these small positions are for the young ones. Are the young ones who are driving this. Go and bring somebody who is in 70 today. Give him or her high T. Even to open a Facebook, they don't know. Okay, so how can you say that the youth are here? I watch, I follow on Facebook and TV. They say these Pan-Africanists we are having in Zambia, vuvuzelas, they don't know what they are doing. They are still young. We are not young, and the Zambian youth are not young. They can actually are the ones who are governing. Okay, under these people who are our fathers and the mothers. Because whatever they want, I have these things whereby somebody will call me, please, I don't know how to do with this computer. I need you. So they need to accept that things have changed. This is the time for the youth. For them, they need to be there. We respect them. We will go and ask for wisdom. That is African culture.
All right. I think in Zambia we have got the Ministry of Technology, Youth and Technology, or something. Technology, something to do with technology. What's the name of that ministry again? Remind me.
It's youth. Youth. I can't understand. I cannot put it correctly. I don't know if it's the
yes,
technology, and Chongo can help you. Can help us.
Yes,
because
yes,
that's
Mr.
when I'm in Zambia, so I cannot even know how they call it.
Mr. Chongo, what's the name of that department in the ministry there?
Yes, it's supposed to be Minister of Technology. Yes, something like that. Yes.
Okay, youth and technology, whatever. Okay, and the minister in charge is Honorable Felix Mutati.
Honorable Mutati, yes.
So are you telling me he's not a youth enough? He's only 63. Felix Mutati is only 63 and is the Minister of Youth and Technology. And you are saying that Costin, yes, Mr. Chongo, what are you saying on that? What are you doing about it, such that the one who opens the Facebook page, the one who's running the Facebook account, the one who's running the technology part of the of government, they are youths? Are they not? Is that not enough? And then, yes, Mr.
Yes, yes, Doc. Yes, Doc. I want to agree with my brother that I think we are in a different generation where, you know, this is the era of technology where young brains has to be coming up to do things in a way that can really work quickly for this generation. Carrying on from the point that I was trying to put earlier on, to say it is very important for young people to also realize that, yes, we need to take up governance, but I think governance is even more to what we just hear people sounding out to say we want to take over government, taking over government, because leadership and governance, I want to say, I'm not an expert in leadership or in governance, but I want to, according to my observation, leadership and governance is an art. That's why somebody who may not have degrees can still lead a revolution. Yes. So it's an art where somebody has to have a certain element or a certain understanding of how to steer up the decision process and put energy in the followers or igniting people to realize that they ought to act in a certain way so that something has to be achieved and achieved according to the current situation. When you look at the current situation in the Zambian scenario, a lot has to be addressed. We are not in the era of sitting in desks, putting on brief suits, nice neckties, expensive things in well air-conditioned offices, and then call business and billionaires to discuss about how best we can, share this national cake. No. Youths has to rise up and go on the ground to demand to eat the fruits of their land.
Okay.
And that leadership needs a proper organization of the leadership which will lead the revolution, which will make youths realize that youths has to take charge. And this is the call which we are making at the moment now, to say young people understand the art of leadership and understand that if you do not get a certain understanding and a certain approach to leadership and governance, you are going to keep on singing songs of praises in the peripherals, in the circumference, while the center is being occupied by those who do not have you at heart and who have got no interest in giving you space to govern and run your own affairs.
All right.
And this is why
okay, I want to hold your fire.
Like this book are very much important, because the Leadership Institute, I want to believe that it's here to impart that sense which cannot be attained through degrees and institutions like the ordinary ones which we have. That is the art which we want to get now in the minds of young people.
Now, it's unfortunate that the young lady, I think she has, I can't see her on the screen, but there are serious questions that I have, and I'm looking at time, how it flies, But I wanted us to deal with this thing. Mr. Mwanga, you have raised a very powerful point. You have said Zambia has got a lot of young people qualified. Continent-wise, as Africa, we've got a lot of young brains. I look at the brains of Nelson Chamisa of Zimbabwe. I look at the brains of Julius Malema. These are young people. I look at the brains of Bobby Wine in Uganda. I look at a number of young brains of people that I've interacted with, even in Zambia, right there. And I always sit back and I see society trumps upon them. But I've got this thing that I feel that I want to hear from you, because last year, August 12th, the Zambian people celebrated, and we all said we have put the youth have put up in the new Dawn government. The youth has put up the new Dawn government, and it's the government of the youth. I mean, I hold my own thoughts. I don't want to say much, but I'm saying that I clap because I'm saying the youths. I saw young people rose early in the morning. I saw young people parading to go and vote. And there was no election in the history of Zambia which was so supported on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Everybody was just saying, it's time to put in the youth, the youth, the youth. And I think the president, when he came into power, he acknowledged the input of the youth in the election. But my question is, I was worried today. I want to admit, I was worried today when I read Mr. Chongo's article. I don't want to go into it. It was so provocative, where I see Mr. Chongo now, the same youth who put this government. It's like now the same youth are saying, hey, what's going on? I thought that this government has been put in by the youth. I've seen the appointments of ambassadors. We've got a youthful ambassador that was sent to Malawi, you know, in the name of Panji Kaunda. I look at that and I say, our youths, are you not being so grateful? Is it that not enough? Are you not being recognized enough as Zambia? We are narrowing it to Zambia, and you, as Pan-Africanist who speaks without fear nor favor, I want to hear you guys. What is it that young people really are demanding from President Hakainde Hichilema? What is it that the young people of Zambia are saying, we want to see this and this has to be done. And what are the systems that you guys as young people are putting in place? So now, I've got the lady back. I've got another gentleman. I think it's a gentleman or lady. I'm not sure. Nsofwa Mubanga. But she's not on camera, or he or she. I would have loved if you were on camera so we can recognize you properly. I'm not sure if you can participate with your audio, if you can hear us. But let me start with Uwera. Uwera, you had logged out, and thank you, you are back. Yes, Uwera, talk to us. What is it that you want from this government?
Sorry.
Okay, Uwera is still trying to find a microphone to unmute herself. Oh, our network again. She's saying our network is bad. Yes, Mr. Mwanga, pick it up. Let's go.
Yes.
We've got 5 minutes. We've got 5 minutes before we begin to conclude.
Good. I think what we want as youth, these people who are in power in Zambia and across Africa, they cannot bring them. One, we want policies to change the policies of the imperialists and bring policies which are favoring the people of Zambia and which are favoring the people in Africa. One, we want education, to reform education. So there are a lot of things we want to change, not what they imposed on us. No, we want to change. Now, these people are there. They cannot change these things. That's why we are saying we want a youth president who is less than 50 years, because this person understood what we want to change. There are lots we want to change. Us as Pan-Africanists, we are advocating for change of a lot of things, not a person. No, we want things to change. There are a lot of things which have tied Zambia to develop, has tied Africa to develop. And one of them are policies. Trade policies are not favoring Zambia. When you look at investors, when you come to investors, local Zambians, and the African at large, these policies are not favoring them. They are favoring those people, and those people are the ones who make policies on us. And we are dealing with business with them. How can we grow? So we are saying, that's why we are saying we are tired with these, our fathers who are leading us. Let us young ones lead ourselves so that we can sit together and say, yes, guys, this is the time, and we must change this. That's why when you give an example like Malema, you give an example, Mr. Chamisa, you give an example, Bob Wine, when these guys, they will be there, it will be easier. I can assure you, in less than 5 years, Zambia will be United States of Africa, will be United States of Africa, because they know what we want.
Wow. Wow. Mr. Chong, your letter today, very provocative.
Yes.
Very intelligent.
Yes,
letter.
Doc.
So talk to us.
Yes, Doc. I thank you so much that you have brought in the issue of the article which have been going around on my social platform. That is something that was motivated out of the things which we have been discussing for a very long time, and we have observed that a lot of things, you know, for a long time now, we have seen that we are being sidelined, because we thought that maybe by changing this government, we are going to enter into a government which is going to pay attention to a critical voice of a youth who is demanding for the change, not only the change of the face which is in a state house, but the change of the entire system which is exploiting the young people and the young businesses and the economic sector of this country. And this is the change which we have been calling for. We are saying that the policies which have been there, they are exploitative policies. They are policies which are favorable to the multinational corporations. They are policies which are favoring the billionaires, investors. They are policies which are not giving a favorable and a fair competition to an ordinary youth like me who have little capital to start a business and make it in life out of that little capital.
I see.
These are the things which you have been talking about. We are saying that the change which we are advocating for is not only the change of this individual. And when you look at from the time the government entered into power, all those who have been
Oh my God, it seems the network seems to be failing on the other side. All right. Wow. I hope Chongo will get back to his point before we close. But let me echo tonight and say the words that are coming out in this discussion. It shows there is need for an overhaul of the systems that we have in the continent, but also narrowing it down to Zambia tonight. We were just looking at what is it that the young people can do in the line of governance. We have heard the cries, and the cries are very loud and clear that there is need for a new leadership that will not just recognize the input of the young people in the day of voting or in a year of an election, but the young people desires to see change, not change of the faces only, but change of a system. I believe that we need to also begin to propose retirement age on issues of governance. We need to begin to propose that, because that is the reason why we have got people that want to govern until death do them part. And that is why we have got leaders, when they get into power, they feel they have to remain there and their families alone. I have always said this, that the continent of Africa is not a business where people should be using this continent to enrich themselves. Every child born in this great land is predestined by God, and therefore is entitled to a life of wealth, health, and abundance. But we see to it that most of the time we are watching that it's always the children of the those are the ones that feel, and those that participate in issues of national governance. The Africa is not a chiefdom where people should say, because my father was, and therefore I shall be. Because my mother was, therefore I shall be. I think, Mr. Mwanga, in conclusion, we've got less than a minute, I think, that we can conclude. These are very serious issues that you have raised. I want you to give us your last words for tonight, and then we'll be wrapping up. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And my last remarks, I'll say African youth must rise and form the government in different countries. Even in Zambia, they must do that. And coming back to the same issue of the age, last time I told you that for me, I've developed this theory to each and the African country to have the ministry of wisdom. This ministry of wisdom, that's where now these our fathers, these our mothers who are above 60 years, who want to save our nations, should go there and save the nation. So that when the young ones are governing, like Zambia, we can go and seek wisdom from this ministry of wisdom, like the way it was in Africa, African culture. Our elders were a group of wisdom, where when young ones, those days when they were fighting, when the young ones come back from war, they will go and bow to the elders to receive blessings and wisdom. That's how it was. And Africa had strong kingdoms. So we need to go back to such kind of governing in Africa.
Wow. We have got Mr. Chongo back. Mr. Chongo, in conclusion, what is it that the African people need to be doing, and particularly narrowing it to Zambia, as that has been a point of discussion tonight? Are you saying to me, after reading that article, speaking genuinely from your heart as a Pan-Africanist, because I know Pan-Africans, they don't speak for themselves, but they speak for the masses of the people. Are you saying that it seems the youths are getting disappointed with the New Dawn government?
Thank you, Doc. Yes, the youths, I am the youth. So we, the youths, we feel very much disappointed and we feel very much let down by the current government in Zambia on a number of issues. And I don't want it to only end there to say we feel disappointed, but it is something that we have been observing for a very long time, and which we have said it time without numbers here, to say the system which these governments are using to govern our affairs, it is something that is making them to let us down. Speaking from as a voice of the, I feel let down by the current government. I feel let down by the current system. That's why the demand which we are putting and the demand which we are making now is a transformation of the entire system which is running our affairs. It is the demand which we are making to say, young people, do not direct your anger at an individual who holds a certain position. Let us rise and come together and organize ourselves in a way that we identify exactly that which is not working for us, which is the system. And the call we are making now is that come forward, join the movement which we have started now, which is going to pursue not President Haka in the Hitler, which is not going to pursue a minister, but it is going to pursue the entire system. And that is only a revolution which can pursue that system and bring it to its knees, because this system was designed against us and it must be brought to its knees. It is the time for young people to rise up and stop just being disappointed by leaders, but get disappointed by the system, pursue the system and bring it to its knees. And the true change, we are going to see it in the Zambian politics and in the African continent.
Wow. Thank you so very much, guys, for coming. And on behalf of the lady that was with us earlier, Owera, we want to say thank you for participating. I think that we should now develop a culture of discussing these topics, maybe once every after a week or so. If we can prepare ourselves every Sunday night like this, as long as we are available, we come on and let us be able to share the message from the African Institute. One thing that I want to acknowledge and appreciate is that we've got a number of other platforms that we gather views and we share them. And so don't think your statements tonight has not been heard. There are some people that their ears are so much on the ground, and you have spoken to the heart of the nations and the heart of the continent. We need young people that love this continent with passion. Let not the size of your pocket dwindle your passion for the continent. If you check how much Chris Hani had in his account when he was ready to die for South Africa, it will amaze you that you might be richer than him. If you look at how much Kenneth Kaunda had when he was fighting for freedom, all what you need is wisdom, knowledge, and passion. That is what Africa needs. So for me, tonight, I want to congratulate you guys for coming on board and for allowing us to discuss these very, very important things. And so for our viewers that joined us on YouTube and those that came to us on Facebook, we appreciate you. Please, we'll get to you and we'll let you know when we are coming back. By the way, Mr. Chongo, allow me to take this time and announce as well that I should be seeing you soon in the land of Zambia, particularly before the end of, let me not say much, but I'll be seeing you very, very soon. And so as I come, let's get all the young leaders, let's have our time to sit down and begin to look at what do we really need in order for us to move Africa forward. We have got also a lot of young people from Kenya. Kenya is going through an election next month. And so our eyes are on Kenya. I'm planning to be that side very soon as well, so that we can be able to contribute with our knowledge and understanding on issues of governance. Have a wonderful evening.
Doc.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doc. Looking forward to receive you here.
Surely. Thank you. Okay, good night.